Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing a little bit of a indoor map tour of this area. I was outside trying to shoot this video, but it's change of season. So got to be super windy, a little bit cold, and no matter where I went outside, the wind, the leaves, just became pure chaos. So scratched all of that, came inside, comforts of the office, and really the point of the video was just give you an overview of the lake, the area, the terrain, try to give you some ideas of where you might end up on the lake if you're looking to relocate permanently, buy a second home, vacation home, a condo for retirement, whatever that looks like. We're always having a conversation with trying to articulate the terrain of this lake and driving around and how close or far away you are to amenities. And no matter what, when you're looking at the lake from a distance, it's very deceiving. It's very eye-opening to look at it from a distance and think that it's a quick drive time. It's obviously another when you come in and visit. So of course, we're always encouraging you to come to the lake, come visit us, let us drive you around, show you around, and give you that firsthand experience on what it looks like, because you really can't get that experience by my videos, by looking at Google Earth or MapQuest or any of those other things. It's very hard to try to get a very accurate picture, but I wanted to shoot the video just to kind of hammer home on a few things, talk about different areas of the lake, maybe some pros and cons, or just give you some stuff to think about. And then obviously, right, I encourage you to reach out and let me know if you have more questions. So here in the beginning, like always, I'm just going to shrink myself into the corner. And we just want to kind of start with a map on where are we located, talk through a few of those things. So when you have a map pulled up of the country, Lake of the Ozarks is located right kind of in the middle of the state of Missouri. So depending on where you're traveling from, if you can make the drive, then obviously you're just navigating which roads take you to the lake. But if you have to fly in, then obviously that's going to be a different conversation. So when we scroll in a little bit, what you'll see is you have Kansas City on one side of the state, St. Louis on the other side. If you go to around Columbia and then you head south, right below the I or the S in Missouri is where you're going to find the lake. So before we zoom in any further, if you are traveling from a distance or you need to catch a flight and rent a car, you're probably going to be looking at this Kansas City main airport, the St. Louis airport. Those are your two major hubs around this area. Kansas City probably the first one, maybe look at St. Louis. Anyway, you're trying to find the best flight that works for your time, the cheapest flight for your budget, and then obviously you're renting a car and you're driving into the lake. You could also just check out Springfield. There is an airport in there with some flights that go in and out. So depending on where you are and what that looks like to get into Springfield, no matter what, you're flying into one of these airports and you're driving to the lake. Now, when you look at the map from a distance, one thing to kind of understand is that the lake is sitting like right here in the middle of all of these kind of bigger cities. So when we talk about the terrain and the drivability and the topography of the area, you got to understand that this is all right here like the Ozark mountain range. And so it's mountains, it's hills, it's curves, it's trees, it's nature. And obviously from this like map, you can tell that you got the big city, Kansas City, St. Louis stuff. You have Columbia to the north, Springfield to the south. You got Jeff City up here. But then the lake is literally just in the middle of nowhere. So big ass lake in the middle of nowhere, as I've said before. And then as you scroll in, you can tell it kind of looks like this ancient Chinese dragon that comes to fruition. So I'm always talking about the head, the neck, the belly. You got the legs down here and the tail that goes all the way back to the Warsaw area. So when we articulate or we're talking to you on the phone and getting you prepped for maybe a trip into town, we're always talking a little bit about the terrain and the drivability and how far it takes to get from one part of the lake to the other part of the lake, because nothing around this area is laid out in any type of grid-like pattern, right? So if you're used to suburban living and big city stuff and everything is well planned and laid out very commuter friendly, like that's the complete opposite of what you're gonna have here at the lake. And sometimes it's a shock to the system, and sometimes people choose not to move here because it's just too difficult or they don't like driving around this area. So when you're looking at it, you can clearly tell that around this is nothing but hills and countryside and not a lot of big city anything. As you scroll in a little bit further, you know, depending on who you are and what your purpose is for relocating or buying, you have the main highway system 54, I'll show you here in a minute, that goes on the east side of the lake, basically from Camdenton, right? Camdenton's down here, goes through Camdenton, through Osage Beach, and back out the northern side. This is the main highway artery that goes through the area on the east side of the lake. So if you live on the west side of the lake, understand it's going to take you a little bit to get to that area. So if you need the hospital or Lowe's and Home Depots, major grocery stores, major retail shopping kind of stuff, as you scroll in, you can kind of see that that's all right here around Highway 54 and the Osage Beach area. When you look at the other side of the lake, you can see that there's buildup around the shoreline, but there's not a lot of structure or amenities on this side. So right here is a bridge that will cross. So if you live, on this peninsula here, and you're separated a little bit from, Osage Beach and the tourism and some things, just know that you have the bridge right here that used to be a toll bridge, and there used to be a cost to cross that bridge. Now it's free, there is no cost. So it makes it more conducive to live in this area here. Great homes, great neighborhoods, phenomenal properties that are right here. And again, you're a little bit extended from the main highway artery, the tourism, the congestion. However, all you got to do is really just cross the bridge here, and then you can drop in and hit any of these amenities. You live on the Village of Four Seasons area in this peninsula. What's kind of cool about here is if you don't have a reason to go this direction, then it's less traffic and populated or congested inside of here. A lot of the pass-through traffic is going to stay on the highway system, and so once you do get into Village of Four Seasons, it's kind of like your own community, your own people, and they're there visiting or checking out the bars and the restaurants, or they're locals. There's a lot of locals that live in this area, and so kind of feels like it's your own peninsula, it's your own world, and you have a little bit of separation, but you're not too far extended from all of those major amenities. So all of your amenities are up and down Highway 54 all the way down into the Camdenton area. Camdenton also is going to have your basic conveniences of Walmarts, grocery stores, gas stations. There's a couple of like urgent cares kind of down there. You'll have the school district of Camdenton, K through 12. Osage Beach also has K through 12. So the east side of the lake, or the St. Louis side of the lake, is going to have the majority of your amenities, hospitals, grocery stores, your everyday living. And the west side of the lake, and obviously down the tail, the further away you go, the longer it's going to take you to get to those amenities. But then the fewer and far between those amenities become, right? So not as many gas stations, only a couple of grocery stores. So you got to be aware that if you find an amazing property over here at the 42-mile marker, which is where we live, like, cool, great property, but understand that it's a 30-minute drive to anything that you would potentially need, or it's a 45-minute drive to get all the way up into Osage in the upper part of the lake. And so you got to understand that commute. If you need that stuff close by and available, then we got to understand where we're going to want to put your property, right? So it kind of gives you the lay of the land, and really, again, the topography of living in a mountainous area. And so being in this area, again, big hills, tons of curvy roads, nature with trees. Obviously with that comes wildlife. So when you're out there driving around and it's pitch dark on a curvy road and you come across a raccoon or a deer, and you will, wildlife is just crossing roads all the time. So you have to have your eyes up, your phone down, and you got to be paying attention. So sometimes when you look at this from a distance, you can't really tell that. Again, that's why we invite you to come into town. Let us show you around. We would recommend probably get something up here in the Osage area. We have office space right here in Osage Beach, right next to Lake Regional Hospital. So very convenient, commuter friendly. You can meet at the office. We can, have all your listings printed and ready to go. And then obviously you have all your amenities there if you needed to hit something before you take off. But come into town, come and visit us. Obviously, you're going to get an idea of just the lay of the land and the topography of driving around kind of this mountainous area. And so when you look at the roadways, we're just going to click over to kind of like a Google Maps roadway. Again, you have Highway 54. That's your main artery that comes all the way down through Camdenton and so on, goes all the way up into Jeff City. So that's your main artery. And what it kind of comes down to is this V. So you have Highway 5 right here, and then you have Highway 54. So you have this V, and then Highway 7 runs out towards Climax Spring and Warsaw, and then Highway 5 continues north kind of through Sunrise Beach and through Laurie. So depending on what you're looking for, if you're retiring and you want a condo community and you want to be close to the amenities and you don't want a lot of drive time and travel time, you are 100% going to be on this Highway 54, Village of Four Seasons. Tons of condo properties, tons of options, plentiful of choices for you to look at. And again, we're keeping you close to the amenities of the things that you would need. You will have some condo communities and some things down in the Camdenton area, just not as many. And again, there will be some further down the lake, but the further you go, obviously the harder it is for you to kind of get around. So if you want a condo complex, you're 100% going to be up in this area. Also not a bad like investment option if you wanted to buy some of these condos, Airbnb them, use them for investment purposes. You're going to find the majority of that up in this area. The other folks that like up in this area are if you're going to like permanently relocate here full time and you want to be close to the school districts, you want to be close to, again, the amenities. This is where you're going to want to kind of put your life. You have Osage Beach School District up here. You have the Camdenton School District down here. So the majority of those in this area are going to be full-time year-round residents. But also with this area comes the highest traffic of tourism. If you think about people coming to the lake and they're spending a week or 2 weeks or a weekend or whatever it could be, they're also going to want to probably be close to amenities. So Highway 54, as that's your main artery, is going to get congested when it comes to like your peak season. Memorial Day through Labor Day, your peak season weekends are going to be busy. Holiday weekends are going to be very busy. So there's a lot of events, there's a lot of things that are happening and stuff around the lake, and that's the main way to kind of get around. So Highway 54 through here, great side of the lake to live on for a convenience factor. I'm a big fan of this Lynn Creek arm right here because you're kind of separated from the congestion a little bit. You can find some really nice properties on this Lynn Creek arm, the Niagara arm, and the Camdenton area. All of those are great choices. Again, we've mentioned like I live on the 42, so I'm way down the lake, kind of over here, and we have to come all the way down Highway 7 and then back road our way into the property. It takes a lot longer. So think about that if you're looking at the east side of the lake versus the west side. I think with this toll bridge that is now free has opened up a lot of possibilities to live on this west side of the lake, have a great property and still be able to cross this bridge and get to your amenities, but not be completely kind of surrounded by a lot of that congestion. So some things to think about. One other factor is this Laurie area, this Highway 5 that runs through here. There are going to be, you know, some conveniences and amenities that are going to be down Highway 5. So if you choose to live over here, you know, you're still going to have, you know, grocery stores and gas stations and hardware stores, those things. You're just going to be a little bit separated from the main hospital, the big Lowe's, the big Home Depots, but there is plenty of other resources kind of in the Laurie area. So kind of gives you an idea. Highway 54, it kind of hits Camdenton into this V. It V's around the lake, so depending on if you have to go east or west or head north, those are going to be your main systems that you're going to kind of go through. So give you kind of lay of the land. When we look at it from a real estate perspective, I always just like to pull up this map to kind of give you an idea. It depends on what you're looking for. What we know right now is that every property that's listed on the market, whether it's land, condo, single family home, lakefront, off lake, there is 2,358 listings here in the Lake of the Ozarks area. So if we wanted to shrink that down and we wanted to take away commercial and multifamily, farm, land, mobile homes, and we stick with housing, condominium, and townhouses, we go from 2,358, kind of refreshes it to 1,338. So kind of cuts it in half. But that does go to show you that there are a lot of land opportunities around here, some commercial opportunities, depending on if you're looking to start your own business or you want to build your own homestead. There's a lot of choices, but 1,338 single family home, townhomes, and condos. If we take away the single family, or we take away the townhomes and condos, we just look at single family homes, you have 801 single family homes. So lakefront, second tier, third tier, and off lake. We can go in here and search that and add a filter of waterfront properties. You go from 800 to 400. So there are 400 lakefront properties available. That kind of gives you an indication of off lake options, lakefront options. And then obviously, as your search evolves, we're setting this up specific for your bedrooms and bathrooms, your price point, garages, any other things that you want to put into your home search. This is what we would be doing for you. If we want to just take a look at the condos and townhouses, those that are looking for retirement, you have more options when it comes to lakefront condominiums than you do lakefront single family homes. I believe the majority of the properties are going to be lakefront, but you can see there's obviously some off-lake options too. So plenty of real estate options when it comes to it. Again, as you scroll into, looking at some of these options, as you look at the map in the area, you're just going to try to get a picture of, hey, how many homes are available in the head, neck, belly area of the lake, right? Clearly, this is where the majority of the properties lie. But you can find obviously great opportunities as you move away from the congestion. But again, as you move away from the congestion, you run into the drive time, right? And so that kind of goes back to just having a good understanding of the area of this lake, the lay of the land, the roadways, and all those kinds of things, just trying to connect some dots. And what I was trying to do early when I was out and about was drive around some of these areas, try to show it from what it looks like, again, driving, try to get a better perspective from a camera view. And even that was tricky, regardless of the wind, regardless of the leaves blowing around. It's still hard to show that, right? It's like you take a really great picture and you look at it and you go, man, that picture just doesn't do justice to what I'm actually seeing. So try to do the best we can on this channel and just provide you information. Maybe not the coolest video, but it's always a topic of conversation with driving around, amenities on different parts of the lake, on different sides, condos versus single family homes, all those things that we're happily ready to be a resource for you. So whatever you're doing, relocating permanently, moving your family, retiring, buying some condos, again, maybe you're doing some investments or you're just looking for a lakefront kind of second home vacation property, where you put it in correlation to the amenities is always going to be a factor. But just having a good understanding of what it's like to drive around here is completely different. So come visit. Come hang out with us, meet us at the office. You drive, we'll sit shotgun, and we'll see how you do driving around. Get a good feel for it, right? Because you would hate to buy a home just because you love the lake house, and then you realize that your driveway is super steep or there's terrain that you're not going to want to drive on coming in and out of your property. And so come down, take a look at it. At the end of the day, right, the videos are fun, but visiting with you and hosting you when you come in is obviously what we would love to do. So call, text, email, let Michael and I know what we can do to help you out along the way. We'll try to get back outside with some better weather. Till then, we'll see you guys on the next video.